everyone! For those who don't know me, hi, my name is Maria Penkova and I'm a makeup enthusiast. In case you're wondering what's been going on with this channel, I've been trying out some new things and trying to find my place in the community, but I'm just gonna do what I love. And what I love is makeup and weird stuff. That's why I'm starting a new series on this channel called Creepy Stories and Makeup. Very original, I'm aware. These series are of course inspired by Bailey Sarian's Murder, Mystery and Makeup Mondays. If you don't know who she is, which where have you been by now, I'm gonna put a link to her channel in the description box. So in this series we're gonna do makeup and talk about various subjects such as conspiracies, ghost huntings, all of the paranormal stuff and creepy stories in general. So if you're a freak like me and like both of those stuff, then I highly suggest you subscribe to my channel because I'm gonna be uploading those types of videos every week. And if you want to learn the story of a real-life vampire, then I suggest you keep watching. Okay guys, so today we're gonna talk about what is now known as the Mercy Brown vampire incident. The year is 1883. The Brown family lives in a small town in Rhode Island called Exeter. George and Mary Eliza Brown were well-respected farmers in the town and had a pretty normal life, at least for now. They had 3 children, 2 girls, Mary Olive and Mercy, and a son called Edward. It all started when Eliza, the mother, became ill with tuberculosis, which at the time was called consumption because it literally consumed the life out of the people who got ill. Unfortunately, a few months after that, she passed away. And a few years later, in 1888, their oldest daughter, Mary Olive, died from the same disease. But the tragedy does not stop there. Oh no. And 2 years after Mary Olive died, their son Edwin became very ill with the same symptoms. But his father was very worried. I mean, can you imagine, like, he already lost his wife and his daughter to that illness. So he tried to do everything possible to save him, and they sent him to Colorado Springs Sanitarium, where a lot of people with consumption were sent at the time to be treated. Although I did find a lot of specialists saying that this was not the right way to treat tuberculosis. Basically, they only separated the people who were ill from the ones who were not, and there was a lot of confusion. They were not treating them with any medicine or anything like that because they didn't understand medicine, not in the way that we do now. And this actually made things worse for tuberculosis to be so widespread as it was during that time, because it made it easier for a lot more people to get infected. That's just a side note. But despite that, Edward felt a lot better during his stay there and he decided to come home. Though only to realize his younger sister, Mercy Brown, was very ill with the same symptoms and unfortunately also died soon after that in 1892 when she was only 19. So to top off the horror that the Brown men were going through, like losing their entire family, rumors started that their family was cursed. And not only cursed, but that the Brown women were actually undead or vampires and were feeding off the 2 men to stay alive. And actually, as time went by, a lot of people started to really believe this rumor. And it got into the point when a lot of people actually came together and demanded for the bodies of the Brown women to be dug up and exhumed. Yeah, you heard that right. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, trust me, I know. But you have to take into consideration that the Brown family was the only one who had the disease in the entire area, and the people did not understand what was going on, so they were trying to make sense out of it. You know? Also, have in mind that the people at the time were not as educated and aware of the world as we are now, and it was hard for them to understand that was a disease, so they were trying to make sense out of their misery and in the thought that there are some dark powers who wanted to hurt them and their families. And actually, funnily enough, this momentous time will be now known as the New England Vampire Panic. Okay, so let's get back to the Brown family and fix up my eye, because this is... I don't know where this is going. So after a time, George Brown was pressured by the community and he finally gave permission, but only to 4 of his friends, to dig up and exhume the bodies of his wife and daughters. Yikes. Though he requested that he won't be involved, that he's not gonna be there because he couldn't handle it. I mean, can you imagine the poor guy? So the 4 friends went into the cemetery, they dug up the corpses, and they actually find out that the both Mary's corpses, the mother and the elder daughter, they have been dead for a while and there was not much remains there. So they were like, nope, not vampires, done, okay, get it, sorry, whatever. But when they got to Mercy Brown's corpse, it was weirdly preserved, like she was still alive. They found her to be in a different position than she was buried, and her hair and nails were obviously grown. Also, when they made some further examination, they found out that her heart had fresh blood in it. So the town got together again and they took out Mercy's heart and her liver and they burned them on a stone. And after, they took the remaining ashes, mixed them with some water and force-fed them to her brother to reverse what the vampire had done to him. That's some next level craziness. And then, surprise, surprise, Edward did not get better. If not, this whole situation made everything worse for him. And he passed away 2 years after that, on May the 2nd, 1894, when he was only 24 years old. So, what do you guys think? I mean, was Mercy Brown a vampire? I think it's pretty safe to say that she was not. Although there are some people who claim that they saw her walking around in the fields at night. But again, they didn't come forward to say that until she was already exhumed and this whole thing went down. So I think they were just seeking some extra attention. I'm pretty pessimistic, I think, on this one, because I read quite a lot of reports that disproved her being a vampire. So I'm gonna share some details with you to let you sleep at night. So actually, when Mercy Brown died, it was a very cold winter and she even couldn't be buried because the ground was frozen solid and they couldn't dig her a grave. So she had to stay for 2 months after her burial in the cemetery's crypt. And a lot of people say that because it was so cold that her body was preserved and her heart as well was preserved, and quite frankly it does kind of make sense. Also, I found out it's pretty common for your nails and hair to keep on growing after you die. Yeah, it's pretty weird, I know. In 1981, a descendant of Mercy Brown actually came forward to talk about her story. His name was Lewis Everett Peck, and he basically said that everything happens a little differently and that the people said she was a vampire when she was still alive and she was actually buried alive. And after, when Edward was still sick, they dig her grave again and exhume her body, as we know the story. He also said that a lot of people were going to her grave and were chipping off a piece of her gravestone as a souvenir. Yeah. If you ask me, he just wanted to make some coin and fame out of his story because it was not proven. Nobody could prove something that happened that long ago, you know what I mean? But it caught a lot of media attention, and actually a few movies and books were written about this whole situation, and in a lot of them it's his version. In 1996, so that's 24 years ago, her gravestone was actually stolen and returned a week later by an unknown person. Nobody knows who did that. They actually investigated, but they couldn't find out who was responsible or why did they do that. This really bugs me actually. Why somebody, and that many years later, you know what I mean? The story is not big right now. Why would you do that? With what purpose would you go and steal a gravestone for a week? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Honestly, I thought about it and I don't even have an idea. Was he like a fan? Was he interested in the vampire stuff? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is really interesting. Why did they need it for? Her grave is actually at the same cemetery that she was originally buried in, which is now known as the Chestnut Hill Cemetery. It is actually still standing and you can go ahead and visit it if you want to. It is located behind this small white Baptist church, and actually at the rear of the cemetery you can still find the crypt that her body was kept in. Alright you guys, I got a little taken away. I did a vampy lip. I mean, how can I not so, you know? So that was it for today's video. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the story, and also, do you want me to keep on posting videos like this one? Do you like it? What do you think about it? I personally really enjoyed it. I can't wait to hear more from you guys, but up until then, stay safe and I'll see you on the next one.